switched it over yet. I'm on to you guys. My shenanigans is getting ignored by the audience of viewers. All right, there's the switch over. Now the eyes start popping up. I'm in.
That's
I missed
right.
everything.
Don't try anything fancy now. Don't try and show off because they can see you now.
Oh, and away we go. Good to be with you on a Balls McWednesday. How's everybody doing out there? Everybody all right? Feeling okay? Moved on? Feeling ready to go? Kind of back in the saddle? We had a long conversation on yesterday's Seminole headlines about the future. And every time you have a conversation about the future, at least when it pertains to Florida State, of course, that brings about much angst, but also the future of college football in general, you get that. You get the big sort of, what is going to happen with this damn thing that we love so much? I agree. I'm a little bit more patient than I used to be. Not patient in terms of how quickly and how soon, we'll get back to where we need to be. I think I'm running out of patience for that. I think I'm starting to get frustrated by it, but not to the point where I act irrationally or flip out or anything like that. But college football, the concerns of, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you something that happened today. I did an interview today that will air on the SiriusXM golf show that I do with Trey tonight. And that show, Beyond the Tips, we interviewed Pearson Coody. Now, this pertains to NIL. This pertains to college football and the discrepancy between, I think, what was intended with NIL, how it's actually being implemented, the lack of rules, no oversight from the NCAA, the member institutions not knowing really exactly how to handle third-party entities, like all of this stuff, right? It comes to fruition. It's very fascinating to watch play out. I don't think it favors Florida State. It certainly hasn't up to this point. But we had Pearson Coody on. He's the number 1 ranked PGA Tour college golfer. And the PGA Tour sponsors this college golf rankings. It's a relatively new thing. Our own John Pack was number 1 at the end of last year, and that's really cool.
He was their very first
number 1 player.
Yep.
Pearson Coody out of Texas is the current number 1 player, and we interviewed him. I talked to him this morning. It's not the first time I talked to him, but it's the first time we had an at-length interview. He's a great kid. I wish him well. Obviously, if Texas plays Florida State, I hope they lose to Florida State. But other than that, I root for that kid. I hope he does well.
He's got a proper golf name. That's not an interior defensive lineman's name.
Yeah. By the way, there's a golfer in college who you've heard of because he's been really good and had success and is coming back for his final year of golf, Cole Hammer. That has a really good name. Cole Hammer's a good name. If you're a pitcher, a hitter, a golfer, anything involving striking of any kind, Cole Hammer's a good name.
It is a very good name, and that's a name I heard at a young age for him because for whatever reason, when the USAM is on, the final of the USAM, and it's been on Fox in recent years, it's back on NBC.
Yeah.
I find a way to it. It's like 6 holes in. I'm like, oh, babe, it's the USAM again. Look at this. A kid named Victor Hovland. Oh, a young man named Cole Hammer.
Yeah. So anyhow, I thought that was interesting. And so I talked with him and about NIL deals, and we talked about people in general with NIL. You saw that John Daly's son has an NIL deal with Hooters. That kid's going to be the envy, if he's not already, of all folks who have NIL deals. How good is that? He's already started with pictures and the like, hanging out at the Hooters. It's his job. He's paid to go hang out at the Hooters.
That's right. Well, that's what John does at Augusta every year. John holds court at the Augusta Hooters. I learned that from some friends who were up there. Like, it's put on the marquee. Hang out with John Daly. He's going to be here all week.
Yeah. So it makes me laugh. That said, what we were talking about was the fact that Cole Hammer and a couple of other players are going to rep Tom Brady's gear. And he's identified a couple of people. And Brady's people are going to do their background. They're going to do their research. They're going to figure out how to promote a brand. And if you're making athletic clothing, which is what he's delving into now, you got to identify, if you're going to use it for NIL purposes, guys where, in his mind, it's a win-win. They're gaining exposure at just the right time. He's betting on their future, that they're going to be PGA Tour players, that they're going to be good ones. And there's an expectation. Here, I'll give you a little bit of money up front. You wear my gear, but now you're committed to me in some way.
Your soul is mine.
I'm just saying, like, it's a win-win for both parties in that situation. Where Corey and I were talking about Florida State or anybody else yesterday is this is taking a hard right turn to something I don't think anybody intended, which is that even though there are rules set against it, we know this isn't how it's being done, that players who've never played it down for you have to see the money they're going to make through your NIL entity before they ever even consider coming to play for you. And this would be kids coming out of high school. This would be transfer portal guys, all of that, who've never played it down for Florida State. Now, I understand the deals wouldn't kick in until they're on campus, enrolled, participating as part of it, but it's not so quote unquote supposed to be an inducement. You're not supposed to be able to say, if you do this, then you get this. Here's how. That's not the idea. But that's how it's being used. That's how it's going to be used until there is some sort of regulatory body.
Hopefully one comes soon, but I think this is a natural thing for really anything in society, whether it's an economic structure, which is what this is, a social structure. There's, the pendulum swings.
Yeah, we got to figure it out.
And it overcorrects the other way. That means that you're going to find the middle ground soon. You don't radically change a system and then, naturally nail it on the first try. That's not how it works. It's going to swing the other way. And if that makes people like Dabo queasy, all the better for it. But coaches have been...
Anything makes Dabo queasy. Black people having rights. I mean, that probably upsets Dabo. But anyhow.
Well, what I'd say is with coaching salaries, for example, how exponentially crazy did it get for coaches to go from, head coaches to be making $1 million to now $500,000 to $2 million to $4, $5, $9. Coordinators.
11, yeah.
I remember when Will Muschamp, people are saying it's nuts. $1 million for Will. $1 million for a coordinator. Now coordinators are making 2.5. So, clearly the money is there. We've all known that for a long, long time. Mm-hmm. And now the players might be getting too much too soon. Okay, good. That's a good problem. That's a much better problem than never getting any.
Yeah, no.
But we have to swing it back the other way once it runs its course here.
And these are separate things in my mind, by the way. I think that you can say, yeah, I'm pro player, or I think this is too much. Either way, you can say I'm really worried about how this is unsustainable. That's a fair argument. It is. Or you can say, no, it's about damn time. The NFL's had free labor for years. These universities, in order to not show a profit, have been coaches $12 million, facilities with chocolate fountains and stupid putt-putt courses and the like. Yeah, that's all true. Everything's true there. It's also not sustainable, this situation here, where in order to get a recruit to come to your school, if he's a top 100 player, you may have to give him $2.5 million. Yeah, that ain't going to work. That ain't going to work.
And that's where the market itself, in this case, is going to say, all right, F this.
Yeah.
Because, you need me to cut another check and another one? That's where the boosters are going to get sick of it. They're going to be like, again? Again?
Yeah, I think that's always going to be the case, right? They're going to be worried. I want to address we'll get back to this in a second. So there are a couple people asking about this, and they already brought it up in the middle here about transfer portal, what we need, what's going to happen, and then our guys that are entering it. And obviously, we got to tie it in, enter the transfer portal. Guys, I got to tell you, I don't spend a ton of time worried about the transfer portal, only that I'd like to know if there's a kid who's interested, and we all follow that. Lord knows we know. We all follow that. But that said, when you tell me that a tight end, one of ours, has entered the transfer portal, I don't even look at the name. I go. And then I say, will a second follow? How about a third or a fourth? How about every last one of those bastards hit the transfer portal? Don't worry about it, boys. We need to make some room here. And none of those guys can play. So it's all right. When you hear that the transfer portal is affected, that Florida State has had a tight end submit his name to said portal, you just smile and say, that's what I'm talking about. And move on and hope to hear a second and third name follow from the same position group. Because, damn it, man, that has been an albatross around the neck of this roster, is looking out there at the 500 tight ends that can't play a lick. There are guys out there that I look at, I'm like, I'm not sure he was that good in high school. his local high school, wherever that was. I don't think so. That's how bad that tight end position group is. So, I mean, Cam McDonald's an exception, and he's not great. After that,
yeah, Wyatt maybe. Brian Courtney is a good receiving tight end in the next 2 years.
yeah, but he's a true freshman who can't play right now, and so that's where you're at. So it'll be okay. Take it on down the road. That's good news.
I told you, if you could find an H-back, like a good one, they will, like, even if they're average as an H-back, so they can block a little bit, they care to, and they can catch the ball if the ball comes their way. They don't make crazy catches, but they make the ones they're supposed to. You'll fall in love with that guy in this offense immediately. Immediately, that dude will have a home and will be open in a lot of occasions. This offense schemes up that position specifically. You can see all the ways they set it up with the left and the right. The seam pass should be a huge part of this offense.
Yeah, there's a couple things there that have always bothered me a little bit. Jordan Travis's inability to hit the seam pass with any regularity or accuracy consistently. And then B, the guys that we have that we're trying to hit there, especially if they're an H-back / tight end type, they're not dynamic in any way. And so you're kind of like, well, if that were complete, it'd be stopped right there. 2nd and 4, but that's still those are still plus yardage. That's still plus yardage. You're right. It is still plus yardage. I'd like us to get to a point where both improve, where the possibility of yards after catch exists, something up the seam with a tight end, and Jordan's ability to recognize it and hit it in rhythm accurately, for they could perhaps gain said yardage with that ability after the catch. Perhaps that would be ideal. Somebody asked about Burrell moving to tight end. This has been part of my assessment on the whole about Joshua. When you stand on the practice fields and watch Joshua Burrell, you say, there it is. Yeah, I got it in early today. Wording, phrasing. There it is. Hey, what a way to start today.
Happy Wednesday.
Yeah. Balls Big Wednesday at that, buddy. So what I said about him is, when we're standing there watching, you look at that kid and you go, damn, that is a potential NFL body. Now, he's not an NFL player, but it's an NFL body. He and Cam McDonald. Like, you look at those guys, whoo, you just saw that guy walking around. You're like, if you didn't know them from Adam, and somebody said they're a football player, and if somebody said they're a rookie in the NFL, you'd be like, well, looks it, neither play that way. But what I would tell you is that Burrell is, in my opinion, never going to be a player for us out on the outside. He's never going to be a wide receiver. Not that plays with any regularity and makes any plays or does anything special.
Probably not. It's his second year on campus.
Yeah, no, I'm not ripping the kid. He's a tweener in that he's big and a little cumbersome, little lumbering because he's so big. But he's too small to be a tight end, and he's too big to be anybody you're hitting on some sort of 9. Like, that ain't going to be him. So I don't know what he becomes. I would lean towards him continuing to put on size because he's got the frame for it, and maybe actually going to a tight end position or some sort of hybrid position where he could be more effective, because I don't think it's going to be at receiver. And I think this camp kind of proved that too, by the way. I saw zero growth in him.
Yeah, well, he was just not as noticeable. Like Kentron, for example, is a player that, even though it's mostly with the twos, I can tell you 8 plays he made where I'm like, that'll work.
Back shoulder throws.
They're all back shoulder throws.
Back shoulder throws or from the backup quarterback.
Or fades to the back pylon, things like that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, he's got that down. But if you ask me, like, what does Josh Burrell run as his best route? Like, I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Well, there's not one that he gets open with. That's why you don't know.
Now, if he's lined up on the end of the line or in the backfield and you can free him up on a linebacker, that could work.
Yeah,
that could work. But it's hard to see him climbing the depth chart to a place where you're going to notice him on Saturdays when we're not playing FCS competition.
Yeah, no, so that's fine.
And it's not exactly a loaded receiver room.
No, not at all. It's one that needs to add a player. It's something we're going to be watching very closely as far as transfer portal guys go. We're going to circle that because I think they got to find somebody. They have been both really unlucky. Of course, they failed. Ron Dugan's failed to bring receivers in during the recruiting cycle. He may have identified people, but he failed to get yeses on the line, which was dotted. And that raised the ire, obviously, of all of us covering this team because, that hasn't been a strong position. And then you don't exactly live up to it off the field either in recruiting. That's a problem. So, we keep a close eye on that situation. But they've been really unlucky. Winston Wright, who knows if he would have been a star. I'm not trying to tell you that kid would have been a star, but we do know 100%, this is factual evidence. We've looked at it. We've seen it at the Power 5 level that he's a productive player, that he's a guy that plays in college football games on Saturdays in the Power 5 and is productive. And you got a yes for him in the transfer portal, and he arrived. Now, he's out there for the first couple of practices before anything really gets going. And then there's a tragedy with a car accident. I mean, that's unfortunately a central theme these days with car accidents. And I hate it for everybody involved. Obviously, tragedy matters much more than what somebody does on a football field. But it's just, are you kidding? Are you kidding? And you can't afford to wallow in self-pity. And you can't, listen, again, there are bigger things. It's not a good look to talk about the victimhood you feel for maybe not getting a kid because of a car accident, getting a kid who's then involved in a car accident. You can't really do that. No coach is ever going to do that. It's not a good look for me or players to do it, but it's a reality. It is a reality. It is a thing that has happened that has affected this group. And you just kind of throw your hand, you have to resist in a weird way, just throwing your hands to this guy going, anything else? Anything else?
Well, they're better at the position, though, this year. They already are. Pittman makes them better immediately.
Pittman does, no doubt.
That slides you to third option is like a pokey as a 3, not bad. You just need more consistency out of Johnny Wilson or Malik McClain on the outside. And if you can get a little bit of that, and even if it's they split the game, there's no rule that says you got to be out there for all 80 snaps, and hopefully we're running 80 to 85 snaps at minimum per game. So if you can get a little consistency out of both of them where they give you 3 to 4 catches a game for a touchdown and a total of 80 yards, all right, you've got a position there. Pittman clearly is going to be a weapon. Pokey could help you there. I mean, it's not ideal. You probably could use another body, but it's better than it was last year.
You got to have another body. I think I'm really excited to see what options they explore. There are a lot of names in the portal right now. There are more going in. There are more going to go in the rest of this week.
Yeah.
You're going to see it now. I mean, this is the reality.
10 days and change. Yeah.
So there is still time to see them, what angle they take and who they target and whether or not they get yeses there. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Hi, I'm Stephanie. Some people call me Paul because I work at Paul's Termite and Pest Control. Everyone that works here will proudly answer to the name Paul. One of the things I love about my job is that I get to help people fix their problems every day. If you have pests in your home and you're like 99.9% of the people I deal with, you want them gone, not tomorrow, but right now. It always puts a smile on my face to hear the reaction of a customer when I tell them we'll have someone out there in a couple of hours. At Paul's, I get the privilege of making your environment safer and more healthy for your family and pets. And because Paul's provides a same-day service guarantee with minimal wait, we get to begin the process right after I receive the call.
If you live in Leon County and call us by noon, Paul's Pest Control will be out by 5, guaranteed. We're a local company, and it's our mission to help keep Tallahassee area customers comfortable and free from the problems that pests bring. And we do so with treatments that are friendly to our environment for the elimination of termites and any other pests.
And a greener lawn, too. Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Applications, onboarding, payroll, termination. Business owners and managers, these are the processes that take away too much time from what you do best. But what if there was a locally owned, responsive solution that would charge you a fraction of the big national payroll companies? Sound too good to be true? It's not. North Florida Payroll Services is Tallahassee owned for nearly 15 years. And in that time, their prices have never changed. The reason North Florida Payroll Services can do that? Exceptional customer service that constantly evolves with the latest technology. From application to termination, for turnkey service for your payroll and HR services, trust a Tallahassee expert and save yourself time and money. North Florida Payroll Services. Online at northfloridapayroll.com.
Whitten Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Whitten Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Whitten's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Whitten Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Whitten Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
Tallahassee's 30-year-old Funny Paper and American Legion Post 13 have joined forces to become Major Morale. The new magazine has 4 more pages of post activities and military information that you probably never knew. But don't worry, it's still as politically correct and newsworthy as always. Okay, it's the same funny stuff, but it's still only available at the sponsors' locations like Tallahassee Automobile Museum, Krispy Kreme Donuts, Keith Lawson Services, or ABC Flooring. Tallahassee's leading supplier of in-stock, top-of-the-line ceramic, carpet, waterproof, and hardwood floors since 1990. At ABC Flooring, you can pick out your floor and installation can begin in 48 hours. ABC Flooring is also the leading supplier of in-stock landlord property management products in the Panhandle. Visit their warehouse showroom on Capitol Circle Southeast or call 877-6600.
Here we go. Your next chance to grow your green this spring and win $1,000 is coming up at 2 p.m.
I just won $1,000.
Listen for the keyword at the top of the hour. Then enter that keyword online at realtalk93.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Southern is apparently really good. Florida State plays Georgia Southern today, and they are ranked in the top 25. You look at the RPI numbers, they're a top 10 team. They've got wins over teams that have beaten our ass. So it will be interesting to see if we keep the streak rolling. And it's cool when you throw out a new starter for a weekday game because you're manipulating the pitching staff. And so let's see what happens.
First sign of trouble, though. First sign of trouble. You want to win this ball. It's an important midweek game because of the implications for the RPI. And you've gone and messed around for a good stretch of the season that you want to host in Hauser. You want to have other people see the beautiful garnet walls in the outfield of Dick Hauser Stadium.
So Carson Montgomery is moving into that Sunday role, and he would normally be starting this role, and Ross Dunn has been sucking. So he got pulled from his position as a weekend rotation guy, and that's unfortunate, but he's not pitching well. I thought it was past due. Good to see it. So we'll move from here, and Jackson gets the start tonight, and we'll see how he does.
I'm just interested to see what happens now with the closer's role. Are we sticking with Scalaro? Because that's dumb. We shouldn't.
No, he
we shouldn't.
Yeah, he struggled.
I thought he'd be the midweek starter. He looked good when he pitched against the Gators. Okay. That's a good change of pace. People are so used to 95 down the black, even in the college level, because the seams are lower, the speeds are up. You throw a junk thrower at them, they don't know what to do for 3 innings. It's a nice way to keep people off balance. Maybe Scalaro will be a long man, but I was hoping just after seeing it, and I get that you got to take care of the kids' wishes, and Montgomery projects as a starter at the next level, so you don't necessarily want to keyhole him as a closer. But, man, that could serve as such a weapon for this group.
Helps to miss bats.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when you get into the postseason, too, and things shorten up a little bit, that might be a role, although you don't like to thrust somebody into a role they haven't had to fulfill over the course of a season at all. You'd like to see how they handle that. But, yeah, he's got stuff. Stuff is It's the kind of stuff that misses bats, and that's ideal for a closer.
I know that obviously the way the game is played now, this is a discussion for even Major League Baseball. I have a theory that if you've got 3 or 4 players at the top of your rotation in Major League Baseball, or 2 guys in college baseball that throw basically the same stuff or very similar stuff, you're almost better breaking them up so that the tendency can be broken. For example, back in the day with my ball club, the first place Mets this year, you've got 4 dudes
We're already vaunted first place Mets.
Well, you got to get it while you can. They look good.
Yeah.
You got 4 dudes who can throw 98 from the right side. And then you've got Levon Hernandez back in the day, or Bartolo Colon type.
Levon likes his money.
How about you throw Bartolo in the middle of that action? Because people are like, what is this?
What is this? Yeah.
It's 90 and it breaks every which way.
Yeah.
Maybe Scalaro could be somebody to break up the weekend fold, and then you let Hubbard pitch on Sundays or something.
You break up the as the announcers love to say, the high velo.
They really have adopted that term, haven't they?
Why? Is velocity so velocity, is that so you can't say it? We gotta abbreviate that.
They won't when it's exit velocity. Notice they usually say exit velocity.
Yeah, they don't say exit velo.
No,
because there's something extra pompous about extra velo.
Exit velo
or exit velo. Yeah. Or he came at him with a little extra velo there. Okay. Don't do that. It's a little bit like when football announcers decided to never say pass interference and only say PI. That's PI. Got to call that there.
You don't like that?
It's pass interference. Just say pass interference. Are we that lazy? We can't say that that's pass interference?
I know your favorite was MAs by Kenny Dillingham.
Oh, yeah.
That got you immediately. Like, you didn't let that slide the first day that he started calling missed assignments MAs.
It's why? Are we in that big a hurry? Where's everybody going with that extra half second you just saved?
I will never call this show the JCS ever.
Well, you can call it the JCS. That's fine. I mean, abbreviations for shows, first of all, are fairly common oftentimes. But if we're just talking about, like, would you... So for example, the kid that's pitching tonight is a sophomore. We'd be like, well, we're going to throw the soft. We're going to go ahead and go with the soft. Everybody's looking around. Sophomore? He's a sophomore.
Yeah,
he's a sophomore. Yeah. I mean, what'd you think I was talking about?
That's what I said.
Yeah. Is he a lefty or a righty? He's an RT. Throws it from the RT.
What does the T stand for?
Right. We're abbreviating IGH.
Notice there are 2 right angles and a T. 4 if it's lowercase.
Yeah.
It's very special.
He's an RT. I'm going to start doing it for everything.
The LHP?
Left-handed pitcher, yeah. Well, we need another LHP.
Come on, meat.
If you go back and you look at all the RTs, we're missing an LHP. I don't know how this team's going to get it done. You could... Anyhow, it became a big thing.
Meat, go to the BP for an LHP. We need to go 1, 2, 3.
And that, by the way, was an MA. He's got to cover that. That's the infielders. There's no... The Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The road in Wakulla County will be temporarily closed next week due to construction. The Wakulla County Board of County Commissioners announced Tuesday Russell Drive off Crawfordville Highway 319 will be closed Monday and Tuesday, April 25th and 26th. An alternate route is Happy Time Drive. The Florida Department of Transportation will be working on Crawfordville Highway 4-lane project during the closure. The United States Air Force has suffered from a steep decline in recruitment with an all-time low that hasn't happened since 1999. The Air Force's mission is to enlist 27,000 recruitments by October, but already halfway through the year, they are sitting at a standstill of 9,000. That's less than half their goal. The Air Force is currently offering a $50,000 enlistment bonus in select careers and an $8,000 quick ship bonus in all career fields. Recruiters say the lack of soldiers will lead to a homeland security risk and that meeting recruitment expectancy is crucial. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 80. Winds out of the southeast, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 59 tonight, partly cloudy skies. A mix of clouds and sun tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 82. High of 84 Friday under sunny skies. 87 Saturday. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 74.
Crawfordville Auto and Tire. Crawfordville Auto and Tire. Oh, hey there. I was just singing the praises of Crawfordville Auto and Tire. They do just about everything. Complete engine rebuilds, brakes, shocks, tires, oil change, you name it, they do it. And they offer a 12-month, 12,000-mile warranty on all parts and labor. Most of the time, they can service your car the same day and offer towing to help you get to the shop. Now that's something to sing about. Open weekdays from 7:30 in the morning until 6 at night. Crawfordville Auto Repair and Tires.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
A woman only identified as Mrs. Wong posted on Chinese social media she had gotten locked down after a first blind date. She discovered that their date's community had gone into swift lockdown after visiting his house for a meal.
This absolutely has to become a romantic comedy. Lockdown Love. He was looking for Mrs. Right, but he found Mrs. Wong.
Lockdown. Starring Matthew McConaughey. All right.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Cameron Show is sponsored by the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans. Great rates, cutting-edge technology, and transparent communication is the recipe for a 5-star mortgage experience at FSUHomeLoans.com.
Is what I intended to say. And so I reiterate the celebration that we will have for said NFL draft at Bumpus. I look forward to it.
Local 349.
That's right. Great food there. Really good food.
Looking forward to the Uncle Sal. It'll be crushed.
It's been a while since you've had an Uncle Sal, I bet.
Since our Warchant staff meeting back in football season. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I'm overdue.
I'm looking forward to setting up shop there and sitting down and watching how this draft plays out. I think it's a fascinating one. I think there's a lot of room and a lot of movement for all of that. So as far as number of picks, multiple picks that several teams have, I talked about this on Monday, but you got a lot of room for maneuvering here for a lot of teams that either want to move up or move out from where they are. I get why you'd want to do both in this draft, depending on your need.
A lot has happened since last time we hosted an NFL draft party. Just talking about, around these parts.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's been, it feels like nonstop. Feels like nonstop stuff. Just constant stuff. Deebo Samuel is a really good player, and he has told the 49ers he wants out. I would tell him no. That's what I would say if I were San Francisco. But why do I bring it up? Well, he's a really good player and kind of matters if he is in fact negotiating to get out. He's been unwilling to engage in long-term contract discussions, which has got to be infinitely frustrating if you're San Francisco, because that's a guy you want to lock up. And he's requested a trade, and that could impact the draft. That's why I'm bringing it up to begin with. And these kinds of things often do impact the draft. But man, that's a high quality player to add to your roster if you're willing to seed with some picks there. I would be.
Yeah, if there could be room made in Tampa,
I was
would make room for
say,
it.
Yeah.
Like, could we send you Godwin and then you could negotiate a long-term deal with Godwin and we'll get Deebo Samuel? I would do that because that dude is so versatile.
Yeah, my only fear with him is they've used him so much. He has taken a beating. So even though he's 26, it feels like a very seasoned 26, like a 29. But I get you. Godwin, too. He's taking a beating, too. So
right. I'm just, for the Bucks, I think this might be it this year, unless the cap goes up an amazing amount in 2023. I think this might be the last ride for all involved. I was looking at the cap implications. I didn't mine for it myself, but Greg Allman from The Athletic was posting where they are right now. All that restructuring is set to come due in 2023, unless they do more restructuring. But right now, as it stands today, the Bucks will be $30 million over the cap next year. So make it count this year, guys. Let's go.
You're right. It feels like a bonus year.
Yes.
Like we very much dodged a bullet in Tampa.
Right.
I have said to those that, and there are plenty, if you don't root for the Bucks, you're tired of the Bucks. And I would be too. If I root, especially if I was a team rooting for anybody in the NFC South, I'd be like, okay, they can move along here. But alas, I do root for the Bucks, and they can all suck it because we've got another great year coming. And that said,
and the NFC is a little bit lighter in competition.
Yeah. But I think the difference is when the mortgage comes due, when you've got to pay up for all of the wrangling that you had to engage in order to win, it should be noted that the rest of that sentence is win a Super Bowl. It's okay. Again, you can revel in the downfall of excellence only if you note that excellence reached the very, very pinnacle of success. The apex was, in fact, another ring.
Yeah. I mean, that's going on in Tampa with a hockey club. That's a limping dog right now.
You're not going to win the Stanley Cup every year from now until, perpetuity, right? In perpetuity. But you did just win back-to-back Stanley Cups.
They are limping heavily into the playoffs. Yes. They don't look, last night, finally.
They don't look as formidable.
Their coach called him out directly last night, which I thought, this is his last resort. He's hitting the panic button.
Well, that's all you can do, though. But I get it. They're the way the seasons have overlapped, the weirdness and the extra, and they're old. Oh, it's going to happen. You can't win it every year.
But they might be able to reach back this one more time.
One more go.
Yeah.
For all the marbles. And then understand that you're going to have to regroup a little.
But if they don't,
yeah,
you stand up and applaud at the end of that. That's like when, you have a young club in baseball
and
or
they
whatever.
go on an incredible run,
an
improbable run, and they finally get ousted by the better team with deeper pitching. You don't boo that. You don't lose in game 7 of the NLCS and talk about how disappointed you are. Rather, as they exit the field, you stand and applaud and say, well done. We'll be back. We'll reload. We're gunning for you. That's what Florida has done with the Panthers. They've been chasing, and vanquished by their superiors in Tampa. Multiple, it's okay. Their pain is understood. They've had to earn it. They've had to eat it. They've had to suck on it for the last several years. That's the way it works. Yeah. And, the Lightning are a little tired now. We might have to move out of the way finally.
Well, game 7 would be a little bit tougher to get up and just because the
emotions of
but
game
if it's
7.
in 5 and you're like, they're just put them out of their misery. That's okay. Then you get up and you're a little misty-eyed. You go, unbelievable, guys.
Thank each and every one of you. Thank you so much.
That's right.
We've enjoyed. I've got multiple shirts exclaiming the excellence in hockey that has been provided here in Tampa Bay.
What's your Venmo?
Goodness gracious.
You got a Venmo?
Yeah.
An extra $10.
Yeah.
I know it'll make a world of difference.
Man.
Appreciate you.
Now that we sit here with 3 Stanley Cup titles, let somebody else have one. I mean, goodness gracious. Right. That's what you do. And for the Bucks, I get it. If you're a Falcons fan and you're tired of the Bucks and you hope this is the last, I get it. I mean, we'll move out of the way. We'll take our 2 Lombardi trophies, and you again,
you'll get Pickett.
You effort to eventually win one.
There you go. With Pickett, good luck. Where we want to get as a football program here is where at the end of a bowl game,
you're like,
win or lose,
let it run.
You stand up at a play, say 10 wins. How about that? 10 wins.
Woo!
10 wins.
What
Way
is
to go.
this dream of which you speak, sir? My goodness gracious.
It's a memory of 2010 and winning the Chick-fil-A Bowl against South Carolina. Because that year, that was the 10th win of that season.
And I remember being very proud exiting that facility.
Yep.
More Chick-fil-A than anybody has a right to eat in a given evening.
And then Jimbo gave the fiery speech that was about 2 years too early. But he's like, we understand where we're going.
Yeah.
We know what we're doing.
Well, I mean, if you
And
don't
then-
have the NC State game, it could have been.
And then 11 was bad.
Well, whatever. But
That was losing to Wake off a bye.
Yeah. Well, a lot of stuff there.
He didn't understand where he was going through
But
the
he
bye.
hadn't quite buttoned it up yet. Yeah.
He understood that Clint
In
Trickett could do
truth-
enough, and he
in
was
tr-
wrong.
Well, in truth, that is the totality of his career, right? The window of exceptionalism coincided solely with Jameis Winston. That has been true at Texas A&M and at his time previous to Jameis Winston at Florida State. So, until he proves otherwise, that is always going to be the small window.
Look, man, he's got a national championship trophy at Texas A&M. They just got to put the date in.
There's no date.
But he's got one.
There's no accomplishment there to add to the legend.
It's a trophy. He's been given the trophy.
I actually think it was like a mantle thingy that didn't have the trophy because the trophy hasn't actually been won. So it was sort of just like it just said national championship. Like here's where we would place the crystal ball, but
It is a national championship trinket of sorts.
it's a holder. It's a holder. It's like something that you would set on the microwave. Like, oh, there's that thing that sits in the microwave. I've been thinking about moving that. It's just sitting there. Really, it's not where it belongs, but I don't know where else to put it right now. And it's
So you've got
not bothering anybody. It's just sitting there.
You have a countertop microwave?
Okay, so let me tell you this story. My microwave, the one that's above the stove that's set back in the way the modern microwaves are, above the stove, it broke. It broke, and it was an older microwave. And so trying to find, because somebody built a cabinet around it before we moved in, the exact dimensions of the new microwave really didn't work out for us. Didn't work out. Now, this is kind of Bush League, but I just left it there because the clock still worked, and I like the clock.
It's a very manly thing to do.
Yeah, I like
hey, the
glancing
clock
at-
works.
Yeah, I like glancing at the clock when I come in there and I'm making my stuff. If I'm making sandwiches, for example, I look right up above me and I go, ooh, it's 6:02. Okay. And then I get done. I do this. Oh, look at that, 6:06. And then I know. But
You could put valuables in there. Nobody would think to look if they raided your house. Like, look in the microwave.
Yeah.
That's where all of his gold is.
you know what's in there? Oven mitts.
Oh, okay.
Oven mitts.
I would have guessed Flex Seal.
Various kinds of oven mitts are in there. You've got the oven mitts for the stove right in
So
the
it's a
indoor.
drawer. It's
kind of become a drawer with a clock. And so then I get the really hardcore oven mitts that allows you to actually touch the grill, my outside grill. My big the pit boss, when I go out there and I'm moving the meats and stuff, I can put my hand. That's where they go. Now, you can't have a house without a microwave though. So if I was going to leave that there, I had to go get a microwave, and I went and got me like a Target jobber, like a $78 thingy, just put it in the corner. And my lament is that it takes up space that's unnecessary. I could have just removed this other one, but that's a pain in the ass, and I'm being lazy, and I like the clock. And secondly, my wife puts stuff on top of that microwave, and I don't like it. And this is a debate we have. Like that, this isn't a thing where we rest stuff on the microwave. The microwave has a purpose. It's not to hold stupid stuff like candlesticks.
But it can't be damaged, the stuff on top of the microwave. You're good. Like, it
Yeah,
can't
but
be
but
burned or
that's
something like it's a
not-
toaster oven.
But it's not a piece of furniture in that way. That's not what we do. We don't put things. This isn't like a.
But we put oven mitts in it. That's
No,
what
in the
we
broken
can do.
one, in the broken one, and it's tinted, so you can't see that there are oven mitts in there. Where
That's-
I can
yeah.
see the stuff on top of the other microwave.
That's where I would buy
I'm looking at it.
I would get the gold these people are slinging during our commercial breaks, and that's where I
Mhm.
would put it. Because make sure you want to trust silver, gold, throw it in the microwave. Sure could handle it.
If I ever break into your house, I'm going straight to the microwave.
We have a
There could
countertop
be,
one
there
because
could be pies, there could be gold, there could be anything of great value.
the previous owners did not carve out anything in the cabinetry for a suspended microwave. So we've got a countertop one,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff's on it. Like, that's where like the breads go, or the tortillas.
Yeah,
We got a basket
you
with
gotta
tortillas.
understand when you're doing that, the breads and the tortillas are getting a little warmed up every time you use the microwave.
Oh.
Yeah, they are. Touch them. I dare you. Touch them after you use that microwave for any length of time.
I do.
I'm telling you, because you suspect
they
that they're
provide me
getting
no
warmed up.
warmth.
That's you're like, oh, it's a little warm.
They would not
It's
help
not,
me.
It's not forever altered. It's still edible, but you can tell they've been warmed up a little bit unnecessarily. So Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Hearth and Patio for custom fireplaces, maintenance, outdoor grills, kitchens, fire pits, lighting, and so much more. Check out all of Hearth and Patio's options online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Hearth and Patio, they keep the home fires burning.
This is Kyle, service manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service program with guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry bucks to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
You were always more than my mom. You were my role model, my best friend, and biggest supporter. You filled my days with unconditional love. And you also prepared for the day when you couldn't be here. Because of the woman you were back then, I'm able to be the woman I am now. Your planning made this moment possible.
Set your family up for life. Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance. Your friends for life.
This is Andy Cohen. When I was a law enforcement officer, I devoted my life to a career of service and protection. Who's protecting you? Give me a call. 850-671-FARM. That's 671-FARM. Helping you is what we do best.
Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi. Not licensed to do business in all 50 states.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Applications, onboarding, payroll, termination. Business owners and managers, you know these are the processes that take away too much time from what you do best. But what if there was a locally owned, responsive solution that would charge you a fraction of the big national payroll companies? Sound too good to be true? It's not. North Florida Payroll Services is Tallahassee owned for nearly 15 years. And in that time, their prices have never changed. The reason North Florida Payroll Services can do that? Exceptional customer service that constantly evolves with the latest technology. From application to termination, for turnkey service for your payroll and HR services, trust a Tallahassee expert and save yourself time and money. North Florida Payroll Services. Online at northfloridapayroll.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Does not have 3 consecutive cups. They've won 2 consecutive cups. I was saying they're not going to win 3 consecutive cups. They have a total of 3. You are correct. They won with Torts. So I'm saying they have 3 Stanley Cup titles, for example, and the Panthers don't. So I was referencing the fact that at some point they've got to go win something, whereas the Lightning have the 3 Stanley
In
Cup.
Tampa sports lore, John Tortorella and Tom Brady are very similar insofar as that Tortorella won a cup with the Lightning, and then it was the sweep at the hands of Tortorella that got their butts in gear and put them in a position to win back-to-back. And then if it wasn't for the tuck rule, John Gruden would have never been in Tampa Bay because John Gruden would have been coaching in the Super Bowl that
With
Tom
the
Brady
Raiders,
won.
yeah.
And maybe they would have won that Super Bowl.
But alas,
and
thank goodness for that really good rule.
Because the league loves Brady and that rule is ridiculous, Brady in a way had a hand in both Tampa Bay Super Bowls.
Yay.
Strange. Very strange.
Ryan, I want to answer your your observation, and I can say this definitively. He writes, I still wonder if Andy Miller says, yes, Jimbo, we'll build your facility, if he doesn't stay locked in and gets Fields and keeps it rolling. He pretty much did, Ryan. He did. Jimbo was broken and hated certain members, including Andy Miller, of the Boosters, and was 1 foot out the door at that point with a broken home life and a shattered existence. He was not going to stay despite assurances that all of the things that he wanted would be given. It didn't matter. Didn't matter. He got what he wanted. The first thing he wanted was the indoor practice facility. He got it without a problem. It's beautiful. It was well done, all of it. And he screwed that up, by the way, because his original design for what it was going to be started and then stopped because of the plumbing system, and they screwed that up and had to restart, and it cost him a ton of money. He got everything he wanted. He was broken. This was nothing to do with yeses or nos regarding facilities. He was going to get it. Now, the problem he has is the same problem all coaches have. They want what they want yesterday. So it's not, you're going to get it. Can you wait a year? We need to break ground on this other thing that we've promised, or we're going to do this other thing, and then we're going to get to yours. Don't worry about it. We will. It didn't matter to him. He was facilitating a way out because of his life being in shambles. And I mean, listen, I didn't like the way that he went about certain things, and I've commented on that. I've also highlighted his successes and the things that he did really well as a coach and everything in between. There's no perfect people. That's me, you, that's any of us, right? So that there's no big deal there, but he was a man of extremes. And, you know, I think that was a situation that was completely broken by the time it was realized, in the sense of, oh, this is never going to end. This is not going to end well at all. This is, this is broken. We can't mend this. You hate us, we hate you, and this is, no matter what we say, you've got a problem with it. No matter what you say, you know, publicly anyhow, you're doing something else behind the scenes. So.
Well, and they were two fundamentally flawed organizations. You know, FSU football at that time, with the coaches that were being retained, and he could argue that we needed to spend $2 million on a replacement or whatever. But then the structure of how the money is procured and how the money is greenlit. You know, it was
right.
So
we were well
old.
behind. We were well
decades.
behind. Antiquated. Yes. Yes. All that needed to get better. But yeah, no. The other thing is too, you know, there was I would say certainly more than a reluctance. There was an outright refusal to make obvious changes to a staff he knew needed to shift and wouldn't. Those were his friends, and he wasn't going to make those changes. If you look at the offensive line coach specifically,
not sure how friendly they were, given he didn't really reach out to him.
Well, again, we're talking about broken people doing broken things during an ugly time. And when it all falls apart, everybody runs for higher ground. And he had the highest hill to run too. He had the loving arms of a desperate fan base with an alumni group that is tired of not mattering at all, despite having more money to throw at the problem than anybody else in college football. And so when you have an influential agent, to say the least, I mean, his agent being the king of agents in college football, then what they do is they play the game. They play the game. All those coaches are chess pieces. That's all they are. They say, you know what? This guy's worn out his welcome over here, but I also represent this school over here who appreciates what he's done. Maybe I'll move you from here to here. Now I need somebody to fill this role. But hey, guess what? I got an up-and-coming client over here that would love that role. So let's just move the pieces a little bit around. Either way, I'm making a ton of money.
Wait till he starts representing college or high school athletes before they enter college.
You think he's
how about the Sexton NIL organization?
You think he's young enough to do that? I think he's probably made his money and doesn't want to involve himself in that game.
Maybe he's got a junior who is going to take over the firm, and this is the wave of the future, is just to represent a collective amount of high school players and start, organizing where they're going to land.
Yeah, I think again, that stuff is always fun to kind of look back on, and a lot of us try to put a ribbon on it. You want to make it a neat and simple, sort of straightforward answer, but in truth, it was you remember, Tom, and I've gotten a ton of things wrong over the years, and I've gotten a ton of things right, and everything in between. But I was telling you, like, my fears were that this thing was flying into the side of the mountain the year before it actually flew into the side of the mountain. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with.
Time for a chance to grow your green and win $1,000 cash plus a shot at a $10,000 grand prize. Here's your new keyword.
Rock. R-O-C-K. Rock. R-O-C-K. Rock.
Enter that word now at realtalk93.com, and you might be the next winner.
Oh my God, thank you. Oh my God. I just won $1,000. Hey, this is Monica. Hey, this is Elizabeth, and I just won $1,000. All right.
More of the Jeff Cameron Show is coming up next after this down-home news break on WBFT. Gretna, Tallahassee.
Breaking news this hour at townhall.com. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Russia's winning no friends with its war in Ukraine. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and Ukraine's finance minister both walked out of a group of 20 meeting today as Russia's representative started speaking. Several finance ministers and central bank governors did the same. Ukraine says it has reached a preliminary agreement with Russia to allow some people to leave the port city of Mariupol.
Ukraine's deputy prime minister said a preliminary agreement had been reached with Russia to get women, children and older people out of Mariupol today. But the city's deputy mayor told the BBC there was no possibility of evacuation for the civilians sheltering in the Azovstal steelworks, which has become the last stronghold of Ukrainian resistance. Russia's defense ministry again gave a surrender ultimatum for the Ukrainians fighting there.
That's correspondent Dan Johnson reporting. In the aftermath of this week's order by a federal judge ending the administration's mask mandate on public transportation, airline passengers are slowly getting comfortable with the idea they can once again fly without a mask. On a flight to Miami today, one of those passengers was Salem Radio Network talk show host Mike Gallagher.
All right, first time in 2 years, and my caution to ask the seatmate if I needed to wear a mask is dissuaded because it looks like a businessman who doesn't have a mask on. But I had one. So, no, I don't. I really don't. So here we go, first flight without a mask.
The White House still has not decided whether or not to appeal this week's order striking down its mask mandate on airplanes. Former vice presidential candidate and Alaska Governor Sarah Palin says she expects conservatives to rally behind her candidacy for the U.S. House of Representatives.
I hope it's just independent Alaskans with a lot of common sense who know that they can make decisions for themselves, their families, their businesses better than a faceless bureaucrat or politician.
More of these stories at townhall.com.
The young lady from the rescue delivered happy, and I panicked. He was missing hair, stinky, scabby, and I thought, what did I get us into? The cause of his issue was poor nutrition. It was neglect. The other owners didn't care enough about him to give him the nutrition he needed, but I have a vet that I trust, and she recommended Dinovite, DINOVITE.com. I ordered the first 90-day supply, and within a couple weeks, his skin started clearing up. He didn't smell. He had more energy. He just had a glow and a bounce about him. We've been using Dinovite for the last year, and Happy the rescue dog is Happy the healthy dog. I tell all my friends who have rescues to give their dogs a chance at a new start with Dinovite.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
It's going to pay off for you and your dog for years to come. DINOVITE.com.
Now go call Seminole Glass. They'll get on the road and get it done fast.
Your local family-owned glass company, serving the Big Bend for over 15 years. At Seminole Auto Glass, we care about your safety. Insurance will send you wherever it benefits them, not the quality of service. There's a difference in auto glass companies. Trust your local auto glass experts. Seminole Auto Glass.
They handle any kind of broken glass, and you know who they are.
Better call Seminole.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
bring it up, and it is pertinent. And I actually think it's a good signing. We did get a signing. FSU basketball continues to fill out their 2023 roster. You guys remember Darren Green Jr., right? You remember him lighting us up for whatever that was, 20-something points, hitting threes all over the place when UCF beat us here to end the winning streak? That kid is coming here. Going to be our guard, our point guard. And so via the transfer portal, we bring him in to go along with Brown University's transfer forward, Jalen Gainey. Green, by the way, is a tall guard at 6'5", big kid, and played 3 seasons with UCF, started 66 of the 82 games while he was there, averaged over 13 points a game, shot over 40% from the field, shot nearly 40% from 3. So, okay, I'll take all of that. I like it. He was 3rd in the AAC in three-point field goal percentage in his career. So you have the guy's kind of a volume perimeter shooter, but when he's right, he can do what he did against us and carry the day.
So you've got the new transfer from Brown, this kid, and Cleveland as 3 of your linchpins in your rotation for next year. And we'll figure out what the rest of the young guys want to do, like a Worley or a Butler. Those are still to be determined, and they just need to declare what they're going to do because that will help fill out the rotation. Then you kind of know what your baseline looks like. I know that there are other players, but these are the principal pieces that will help you improve because I can't imagine that Cleveland's game won't improve drastically from year 1 to year 2.
Yeah, and that was big for him to come back, and you know how we feel about some of the other pieces. I love Butler, all those guys, so it will be interesting. We asked the question yesterday, has Blake Osborne announced what the hell he's doing? He's got another year if he wants it.
He's not yet, no. Polite did like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
I'm kind of wondering when that other shoe's going to drop. I hope he comes back, but listen, if you think about what they had to do, this is a big pickup, and Green basically, because of the COVID exemption, has 2 years of eligibility. So you've still got him. And he's the kid who I said before dropped 20 on us, went 6 of 9 from 3. They stunned us 86-74 in that game. That was a 41-game non-conference home winning streak that was snapped that night when he came in here and lit up the roster. Lit up the Nets and the TLC CCC. 13 scholarships where we at. The biggest question now is whether the NCAA is going to enforce the 13 scholarship limit for men's basketball. They could waive that limit to accommodate players with the extra year of eligibility because of the 2020 COVID exemption. So that's all still there. We'll see.
I've seen a report, and it's not been confirmed by FSU that I've seen so far, that there's an assistant coach out of Boise State that we might have gotten. We'll see as the staff fills out. But that's the other major thing is where's the future of this program going? Because who is the successor? Because I don't think Gates is coming back. I don't think CY is coming back. Now that they've got SEC money, they're entrenched there. Who's the next one? And is one of these next assistant coach hires a coach in waiting situation because Leonard trusts them through the networking that happens in the coaching community?
It's a logical question, no matter what you think, good or bad, about the program, because Leonard Hamilton is going to be 74 years old in August. And by definition, you are in the twilight of whatever career you're in if you are 74 years old. So the organization, meaning Florida State basketball, the athletic department, and the new athletic director, have to be thinking in those regards. What will be interesting to me, and this is just more of a big picture thing because I don't want to get into the weeds about basketball in April, but what I do think is fascinating is where is this program in stature in the eyes of those that you would be attempting to lure? So it's certainly better off than it was. There's no doubt about that. I mean, this is a program of major significance, not of minor significance, but major significance in the ACC for the better part of 5-6 years in a row until this year. And even then, it was a down year, but they went 500 in the ACC. It wasn't like a catastrophic.
You go the last dozen years, and this is a program of major significance.
Yeah. Well, when you look at the number of wins, home wins, ACC wins, average finish in the conference, top 5 over and over and over again in a league that features Duke and Syracuse and North Carolina and Louisville and all that. So yes, without Virginia, obviously, Florida State has etched out a place that is not synonymous with what this program's history suggests it should be. So is that duly noted in a way that allows you to perhaps put feelers out to some names, people we know, not up and coming young coaches that you're willing to take a chance on that have never helmed a program of this magnitude, but rather somebody who has succeeded and isn't a known criminal per se, like Bruce Pearl or guys like that.
Well, he got his wish now. He lives in an era where a guy like himself can flourish.
Yeah, well,
But
basketball has been that way for a very long time.
the question is, where are we in the NIL world? And I know we just got done answering that with a positive that, coming out of the Mims, difficulties, you realize that we can compete with a, if that kid could have been considering multiple schools and he played it out in the transfer portal for the next couple of weeks, it would have been us, Miami, USC, non-SEC schools, but big non-SEC schools that could command huge dollar values for a benefits package that would only be awarded after you're here and doing things on the up and up, and the sequence is correct. So we got the good answer that we've got NIL to compete in football, but, I mean, do you have enough to compete in basketball as well? Because that would be the first question I ask as a head coach, whether or not Florida State is more attractive than it was 10 years ago. Of course it is. But can you compete? Because we're in a different era now.
I had a discussion with somebody last night, advertiser and partner on this show, and one of the many people that have supported us, and I thank him so much for doing so. I'm talking about Andy from Orange Theory Fitness. We had a wonderful dinner last night together. It's always great to catch up with him and what they're doing at Orange Theory, and I usually parlay that into conversations that I have with you guys as I'm an endorser and ambassador for Orange Theory. But we got into just a sports topic of the SEC, and you look around at the SEC in baseball currently, and he's a big baseball guy. He went to Vanderbilt, Andy did, and graduated Vanderbilt. And so he obviously they've had a lot of success in baseball for a long time. And so, but he loves college baseball. And it's just cool for us to be able to sit down and talk about the teams. We were kind of shocked at what Tennessee's doing.
I was going to say
year.
Tennessee came up if he's a Vandy guy. That's for sure.
Well, it came up because they swept Vandy at Vandy, which, okay, at that point, you're like, well, Tennessee is not having it. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. Beyond the fact that at one point they were 25-1, they just keep on rolling. But my fear has been realized. And I was banging this drum several years ago. If you don't believe me, then think back, and I don't mean you, Tom, and but think back to all the people that have listened to this show. How many times have I said aloud on the air that we need to tear that dump that we play in down to the ground and create a brand new atmosphere and stadium at Florida State that is commiserate to the success level that has gone on here for the past 50 years? That Florida State's, yes, they're missing a national championship, but it's the only thing they're missing. They've accomplished everything else there is. Now, I understand that's been elusive and frustrating, but there are very few programs that have the resume of Florida State, and yet, because we're stuck in the sorry-ass ACC with not enough funds to go around, certainly not to compete with football in the SEC or Big Ten, for example, that the trickle-down effect, the runoff of all of the extra funds that the SEC now has will begin to affect these other sports in which Florida State has sustained successes. So softball and soccer, and I pointed to Florida State baseball because it pisses me off to no end to go and look in the top 20 and see all these SEC schools. The SEC has always been strong in college baseball, but it's getting stronger by the minute. It's because they all have ridiculous facilities and they fund it in a way that we do not fund our baseball program, or that most ACC schools do not fund their baseball programs. It is the ability to go out and bring in coaches that you probably are overpaying for to keep for them from going to other schools like ACC schools, and then to build facilities that are attractive to a recruit coming out of high school. We have to show them, sadly, Dick Howser Stadium, Mike Martin Field, which was once a jewel of college baseball and is now outclassed by the vast majority of the schools in the ACC, much less the SEC, and certainly a select few in the Big 12.
Yeah, preach, man. This conference is terrible. It sucks. Swofford failed. And, wait till they see up there in Tobacco Road what happens when the SEC and the Big Ten are the only two conferences worth a damn in college basketball. Their beloved sport, because they've got enough money to run off down there. Oh, we don't need booster contributions this year. You know what? Why don't you funnel that over to the NIL fund? Because we could use that 5-star point guard that's thinking about going to Duke. Let's go get him instead. And they'll have the money to do it.
Well, he may get bailed out, and it wasn't so simple as to say that he failed. there were obstacles in the way, Tom, if we're being fair.
So his success and failure was keeping the ACC from imploding. So he succeeded, but his success is our failure.
Yeah, I also think that people who believe that we could have gotten a network sooner are wrong on that.
We didn't have to give away our third-party rights, though. We could have kept those.
We had to in order to keep the conference together. Now, it's tough to project.
If he dies,
at that
he
time,
dies.
Yeah, at that time, to project that the showing of solidarity would in turn be the ruination. Because at that time, the showing of solidarity was the only way that ESPN would agree to fund a network, which was what everybody was lobbying for. So in that sense, by getting them to sign those away, he showed the proper solidarity. ESPN then invested and said, fine, we'll invent, create, supply, support, fund the ACC network.
In 10 years.
Well, but because they were building the SEC network, that had already got out in front. They weren't going to do two simultaneously. So
the pitch now is, man, look at all these losers that we're with for branding purposes, ESPN. Look at what you're spending on Buck and Aikman, right? You know, you guys that's so much money you're spending on Monday Night Football and all these other things. Yeah. And you're doing the right thing. Look at your hockey contract. I mean, that's ridiculous. Where do you find all this money? Why would you want to be paying Boston College 20 some odd million a year?
Well, sure. I would stab
why don't you
all
take
of
us
the
winners?
Other members. Yeah. Well, it has to do when you say, why don't you take us winners? You 5-7?
Only winning in the way that ESPN cares about. Yeah. It's funny how Florida State non-conference games or FSU Miami finds its way or FSU Clemson into that top 10 every single year of the most viewed game. The FSU Notre Dame this past year. Incredible numbers. We might be losing on the football field, ESPN, but you know what? Boston College does that. Here's the difference. We get ratings. So why don't you stick us in another deal that you have? That would be the pitch. It's like, you implode the deal. You can cancel at ESPN. You can say, the hell with this. We don't want the ACC anymore. That's fine. We want the 4 select schools that are going to make us money. So the rest of y'all can go pound sand.
Yeah. We're going to end up, I think, ultimately, probably being saved. It's just enduring until that comes.
I think so, too. That get out of jail free card
sucks, but it's going to happen. Now, when is the big question? When? And can you do enough to remain relevant long enough that when the win happens, people go, oh, yeah, we'll bring them along?
Or is it going to be like that, was it Rambo 2? Where you get there and there's the helicopter and you're like, come on, lower down.
Yeah, was that 2 or 3?
I think that was First Blood, Rambo Part 2.
Well, the first one, First Blood, is the only one that matters. And then we all saw the other ones just because they were ridiculous and fun.
I think 2.
But in terms of
2, he gets out of the labor camp to start and Richard Crenna takes him out and then they go and they're supposed to go to a prison camp and not find anybody, but then they do. Then they bring the prisoners out and the helicopter lowers and then it leaves.
You know what bothered me about that? Well, several things. First of all,
just don't let that be our get out of jail free cards, that helicopter where we're like, come on. And then they pull away.
You made me laugh.
Sorry.
I'm coughing.
FSU is Rambo.
Yeah. So they come out with that movie and we all loved First Blood. It's awesome. And then I was really excited early on. You're like, oh, Richard Crenna's back. Love me some Richard Crenna. By the way, I won a huge bet about Richard Crenna one time.
Yeah, I know the story. Back in college.
Yeah, back in college. Drunk
on
a couch.
Yeah, you went to Blockbuster to figure it out or something?
Oh, I was furious. Me and my buddy Bob, we were arguing about Richard Crenna's name. And I got that right. Yes, I've told that story. So we were watching. You go to the theaters to see that movie, the second one. And then when they get to the camp, those leaves are plastic. Everything about the camp, I'm like, that was shot in a driveway. Look at this thing. They spent no money on the budget. All the money they've made. They know this is going to be a blockbuster. That palm tree looking thing is plastic.
Wait a minute. So you walked out of Rambo 2 saying production value?
Oh, I was furious about the production value. The death count was absurd, but I wanted it to be. I knew it was going to be over the top nuts. Andy had transformed his body into this steroid craziness.
Right.
All of that was nuts over the top. But spend a little on the leaves. I mean, can we get a real tree in here? What is going on there?
And why does that torture device look like a mattress you picked up at the Goodwill and stripped down?
Everything.
Why can't it be better?
What are we doing here?
You will tell us.
Yeah, I forgot about it. And the radio looked like something I had as a kid with a little push. I was like, that's plastic too. I promise you those are metal. You're not doing this right. Remember when he's having to push? Yes.
Well, and they had the HQ with all the computers, and they had that generic noise that's in like war games as well.
Right.
It's like, there's just a bunch of flashing lights.
Yeah. What is
Modern technology, Rambo. We can't lose you, Rambo. It's modern technology.
Look at this. Zeros and ones, Rambo. So Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Another check from Northern Florida?
Yes, Your Majesty.
And may I ask why we get it?
It's from one of our businesses in the States, a pest control company.
Oh, and what do we know about pests in Northern Florida?
Absolutely nothing.
Did you know that most pest and termite companies that serve Tallahassee are actually owned and operated by people that don't even live in our area? One owner is actually in Great Britain.
Paul's Termite and Pest Control was founded in North Florida, operates in North Florida, and services North Florida.
All of Paul's decisions and treatments, plus prevention methods, are centered around the unique needs of our wonderful part of the world.
Being local really does matter in our industry.
Don't trust the health of your family to companies that aren't even on our continent.
Protect your biggest investment from termites and your family and pets from pests with a company with the local advantage, Paul's Termite and Pest Control.
And remember, Paul's keeps North Florida lawns green too. For the elimination of termites and other pests,
And a greener lawn too.
call Paul's.
We'll get them all.
Will you use a fly swatter?
I believe we do.
When your AC unit decides to give up the ghost, it doesn't always pick the best time. But no matter what time, day or night, or day of the week, you can call E&B Heating and Air Conditioning. We'll be out to bring your AC unit back to life. We've been repairing and replacing heating and air conditioning systems in the North Florida and South Georgia area since 1974. So when your air conditioner stops working, call E&B Heating and Air Conditioning to the rescue.
Applications, onboarding, payroll, termination. Business owners and managers, you know these are the processes that take away too much time from what you do best. But what if there was a locally owned, responsive solution that would charge you a fraction of the big national payroll companies? Sound too good to be true? It's not. North Florida Payroll Services is Tallahassee owned for nearly 15 years. And in that time, their prices have never changed. The reason North Florida Payroll Services can do that? Exceptional customer service that constantly evolves with the latest technology. From application to termination, for turnkey service for your payroll and HR services, trust a Tallahassee expert and save yourself time and money. North Florida Payroll Services. Online at northfloridapayroll.com.
Siri, tell me a joke. The past, present, and future walk into a bar. It was tense.
All jokes aside, the trained professionals at Mac & More Systems are serious about Apple products. For all your Mac repairs, call Mac & More Systems at 894-3622. 894-3622.
Sellers Tile does it better for business owners, contractors, designers, and homeowners. Better design ideas, better quality tile, carpet, and hardwood flooring, better mosaics, ceramic, and vinyl solutions. And Sellers makes it easier with their amazing showroom and first-class professionals. Maybe it's time to get Sellers working for you on Capitol Circle Northeast, just north of Mahan Drive, or online at sellerstile.com for better style, quality, and design. Go with Sellers in Tallahassee. Call 656-8453.
Being a mom is tough. That's why Dana Brooks from Fasig Brooks Law Offices wants to make weeknight dinners just a little bit easier by giving one tough mother 22 gift cards from local restaurants for Mother's Day 2022. Do you know a tough mom? We want to hear from you. Nominate one tough mother by visiting realtalk93.com and tell us why they should win. This year, we recognize how tough it is to be a mom. Brought to you by Fasig Brooks Law Firm in Tallahassee. Come back stronger with Fasig Brooks.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is sponsored by the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans. Great rates, cutting-edge technology, and transparent communication is the recipe for a 5-star mortgage experience at FSUHomeLoans.com.
And White Sox in Cleveland tied at 0. It's early, but the games, they are lined up. A bountiful amount of games for us to tune into tonight. If that's your cup of tea, it's mine. It's mine. I'll share. I had a cool moment. Hadn't happened in, I don't know how many years. It's been a long, long time. I share it because it's kind of sports related, and men and grandchildren, if you will, can relate to this sort of thing. I guess women can too, but I'll explain. I went last night. I went to bed, and I was watching ESPN's 30 for 30 on Greg Norman, which I highly recommend. It's exceptional.
I hear it almost makes you like that piece of crap.
Almost. And there are a couple of moments where you're like, oh, well, he's still hurting a little bit there. I didn't like seeing that. I don't like looking into people's eyes and seeing the window into their soul, and especially if they're not like nefariously bad, but just egomaniacs, that kind of thing. Now, he has kind of chosen to align himself with people that are nefariously horrible.
He's also just on the ground, not a good guy,
Yeah, we found that out. Found that out. The point is, they did such a good job, as they usually do on these 30 for 30s. And you are reminded of how many times, I mean, there are some moments, Tom, where you're like, and they show all of them again, every one of them. There were more than I remembered. We only remember the majors where the Masters had happened to him. It happened to him again at the PGA. He had a lot of moments where you're like, oh, that is not cool. That is unbelievable. That's 100 yards out. like that should not happen, Then there's some that he brought on himself. I'm like, yeah, well, he may have made a 60-foot putt, Greg, but you shot a 41 on the back nine to be beaten. So, I mean, kind of don't put yourself in that position.
Yeah, there's a lot of Arnold Palmer moments like that.
Yes.
Like, oh, we lost by 1 again. Well, Arnie, you shoot 72, you win by 5.
Yeah.
It's your problem.
You shot an 80, dude.
Come on, Jack.
You're going to get hawked down.
Yeah.
So my point is, I went to bed watching that. I would strongly recommend it. Human interest stories, fascinating. And I credit to him, no matter what we think about Greg Norman, credit to him for sitting down and doing this as they show him every one of the collapses, including the most famous against his arch rival, Nick Faldo, at Augusta. And of all people, that is not who you wanted to get beat by. They did not like each other. That comes across quite clearly in this. In addition, by the way, Faldo's funny in this. Also, in addition, because he can be that way. In addition, I give credit to Norman when he admits, if Faldo has to get up and down from an impossible lie on Saturday in order to be in the final group on that Sunday, and he trails by 6 shots, if he doesn't get up and down from above the hole, going straight into the water on this particular hole, then he's going to be in the second group, and Norman's going to play with a very young, not all that known or experienced Phil Mickelson. He's asked if you could have played with anybody else but Faldo, would that have been preferable? And he says, yes. He admits it. Wow. He admits it, which I couldn't believe. He's like, oh, I would have been fine playing with Phil. I could have handled that without any problem. But yeah. And he goes, because I like to chat with people on the course, and Faldo would stare through your soul and he refused to talk.
I like to talk about myself as we walk the course. How great I am.
Yeah, correct.
And have people nod and agree.
Yeah. So Faldo wasn't having it. He would never give anything back. And Faldo admits, he's like, no, I stayed in my show. We're here to win and compete. I don't need to be chit-chatting with you. Like that. That's what this is. All right. So I fell asleep to that. As soon as it ended, I turned off my television, went to bed. Why do I bring that up? I bring that up because it must have facilitated this dream. And this is something that everybody can relate to. I had a dream in which I had a long conversation in the kitchen with my granddad. My granddad has been dead for over 20 years. My oldest son is named after him. This is the ring he gave me. I'm very, very close. I was very, very close to my grandfather. And I haven't seen him in that way in over a decade. I haven't spoken to him. And so to see him startled me in this dream. You and I were at my grandma's house in Treasure Island.
What was I doing there?
We were golfing and hitting golf balls onto the deck. She lives on the water.
Mm-hmm.
And she has, it's not a deck, it's a dock. we were hitting golf balls onto the dock in my dream. And we were talking, this is bizarre, we were talking about Florida State football. And as we were talking about Florida State football, as we're wont to do when we play golf together in general, we were just kind of exchanging stories and thoughts about Florida State and what we thought. We were trying to get the ball to land on the dock in such a way that, you know, it didn't roll off. And of course, it's a hard surface. And so you had to really hit it. We were hitting like 60-degree wedges as high as we could with backspin so that it wouldn't go off the dock. It's a nearly impossible task, but the first to get it done would win whatever this competition was that we had. And neither of us could get it to stick. And so I said, hey, I'm going to run in the house real quick and get us a drink. And in the dream, it is my grandma's house, and it's exactly like my grandma's house, nothing weird about it. And I walk in, and I'm going to go to the fridge. And as I get to the kitchen, my granddad enters the kitchen. And in the dream, I'm kind of taken back because my granddad's been dead, like I said, for a long time. And I said, Granddad. And he called me Bud. And he goes, hey, Bud, how are you? And it was his voice. It was his voice. I haven't heard his voice in a very long time. And I just froze. And I said, I'm fine. I'm playing golf with my buddy Tom. And he's like, oh, okay. And he goes, let me ask you something. Have you ever had a flat steak from Colombia? And I said, what? Like it's a thing. And he's got this paper, and it's clearly got the steaks, the flank steaks, the flat steaks inside. And I go, I don't think so. And he goes, oh, well, I'll make you one. Does your buddy want one?
Yes.
There you go. I spoke for you.
Oh, good. Good choice.
And I said, yeah, I'd love that. It'd be great. And my granddad's a really good cook, was a really, really good cook. And he got a cast iron skillet out. And he's like, you got to get it really hot. And I was like, okay. And every time he spoke, I held on to it. Because I knew somewhere in there, I knew that this was fleeting. I wasn't going to get to talk to him anymore. And I hung on his every word. And then he said, you got you know what you do, you oil the outside of it, and you salt them with kosher and you pepper, and then you put a little butter down on the skillet. And he's like, what's not made better with butter? I was like, that's a fair point. He's like, right. And then he put the butter on there. And as we're sitting there, I kind of looked at him and he's like, you go on out and play, and I'll call you guys in when they're done. And he laid the flat steaks down, and you could hear him sizzling, and it smelled so good. And I took one last glance at him because he didn't have a shirt on. And that's exactly as I remember him when I was younger. We would watch golf together. And I'm sure that's why I had this dream, because it was during the Norman era, the end of the Nicholas era, all of that. I'm sure that's what facilitated this. But he didn't have his shirt on, and my granddad smoked. And in modern times, if I smelled him, I would think this was probably gross, but I used to love the way he smelled of a cigarette and Vicks. I've said that before on the air. And I could smell him in the dream. And he was smiling. He had a great tan because he was always fishing out back without his shirt on. Old retired guy. And he smiled at me, and I smiled at him. And I said, thank you. And he said, you got it, bud. And I walked outside. And that was the end of the dream. I woke up. How great a dream is that? What an amazing, amazing moment. And I just thought about that because it's pretty cool to have had a granddad, or all of us, and anybody listening, I think you can relate to this, that like your love of sports and your insight into people's personalities and the way people compete. And in this case, it was golf, but we watched football together. We watched baseball together. We watched all those things. It kind of spurs, like later on, your love of and your passion of those same things. And now all these years later, I'm 50 and I still get to talk about sports, even, while we're going through these disappointing times with Florida State. Like, I don't know if that was my brain's way of saying, hey man, you got it good. Here's a little glimpse of how all this got started, or whatever it might be. And I don't know why I share that today, but I've been smiling all day. It's a good thing. I mean, I woke up to it, poured a cup of coffee, and tried to remember every second of it.
Yeah, I can tell you, it's not easy to segue from that, but the voice line is what sticks with me, because those that I've lost in my
Yeah.
life, I've always tried to really file away their voice.
Yeah.
Because that's very important. Because you can remember what they look like. And I know
remember
sometimes
mannerisms.
absolutely, but how they sound. Like my grandmother, my Grammy, my dad's mom, kind of sounded like Willem Dafoe. So anytime I hear Willem Dafoe, she's like, "Would you like a graham cracker?" And it sounds like Willem Dafoe saying, "You're not so different. We're not so different, you and I." But the reason that that's relevant to, sports being something that connects the times, I've told this story before, but my father lost his father and his mother 30 days apart in 2004. It was April 15th, 2004 and May 14th, 2004. And it was pretty much a broken heart, that took her.
That happens quickly.
She was going to and they were married for 60 years maybe. So, she was going to come down and live with us, and we were going to, that had happened before because she had a health scare and came down to Tampa. She needed to be in the warmer weather. But if it wasn't for a Stanley Cup run that summer with the Lightning, I don't know what we would have been able to talk about to not talk about the elephant in the room. Speaking about my father and me, my father, my mother, and me. When we went up the first time, the Lightning were beating the Islanders in 5. When we went up the second time, it was a lot harder because he cared for his mom in a different way, at a much deeper level. And that was the Philly series. And we came back just in time to go to Game 7 together, win that one. And then when they won the Cup, it was a tough moment, but it was just like, we're so thankful that sports was there to guide us through. And
it
serves that purpose for all of us.
Yeah, it's a through line for sure. And every now and then you get a little lucky. You're subconscious and tap into something like that. I could not have known as I turned off the tube last night watching that special on the shark, whom we both kind of loathe as a person, but it was a fascinating thing, triggered the opportunity for me to fall asleep and have a conversation for the first time in over a decade in my brain anyhow with my granddad, and to have it sound and look like him verbatim, and he was still cooking, which was great. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
A train was cleared Tuesday morning after blocking the roadway near the intersection of Eisenhower and Plant Street in Tallahassee for nearly 5 hours. No reason was given for why the train was stopped in the middle of the roadway. The train line is owned by CSX, and the cargo train has CSX logos on it as well. CSX has yet to issue a statement. Governor Ron DeSantis has announced he'll call a special session of the legislature to address rising property insurance rates in the state. The special legislative session will occur in May and focus mainly on the reform of the property insurance market, but could address other topics. He said he would sign a proclamation this week containing meeting dates and additional details. DeSantis said the goal on property insurance would be to bring some sanity and stability and have a functioning market. The announcement comes amid growing consensus among lawmakers to address spiking rates and other problems in the state's property insurance market. This is Rachel Lene with Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 80. Winds out of the southeast, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 59 tonight, partly cloudy skies. A mix of clouds and sun tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 82. High of 84 Friday under sunny skies. 87 Saturday. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 77.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
Chattanooga, Tennessee. Pastor Tabner was alone with a female church employee. She in a towel and he in his boxers. The charismatic 41-year-old Hurley explained the two of them had been making chili and gotten food on the floor. with the hot dogs that they were making, we are hoping that the pastor used the right condiments.
Think there was at least one hot dog involved.
I don't know what you're talking about. We were just making chili dogs.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road, and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
One, you could be a marginally interested NBA playoff guy and still enjoy that matchup. That's intense. It is fun to watch, and it is well played. We shall see. Oh, by the way, as a side note, you probably don't know this, but and I'm just talking about the casual, somewhat disinterested NBA guys. Golden State is up 2-0 over Denver, and they're not only up 2-0. If you look at their points per 100 in terms of possessions, it's like 200. It's absurd. And they've got a team that is eerily similar to the ones that dominated the league. And I don't know, man. I'd watch. It's really cool to watch them play again. It's cool, in fact, to see them play the way that they are. 123, 126, respectively. There's point totals in those two games. They've dominated the Nuggets up to this point, and I don't know if you like watching that. If you watch Steph Curry come off the bench and drop 34, okay, that's fun, especially as efficient as it has looked up to this point. I gotta guess that between Poole and then what Wiggins finally became, and the return of the big three, it's worth your time. Just a side note, just throwing it out there. Still first round, not going to dive deep. Cool to watch. Good series. Not a good series, not a good matchup for Denver, but a fun series to watch because of Golden State being healthy for once.
I'm going to be the mercenary for this round of the playoffs. You know, usually in the past, the first round was just kind of lame. Outside of once you got past like the 90s, where those 5-game series could get really tight.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one year the Cavs beat the Knicks. What the hell?
Yeah,
and it was like in 5. But then you got in, for about 10, 12 years there, this was like under 5.5 games, and you bet the unders across the board. You're going to do okay in the first round of the NBA playoffs. But I'm going to be that mercenary fan who waits until you get to a game 6 or a game 7 before I lock into it. There's just, in an odd way, there's too much other stuff going on.
Well, yeah, you decide whatever you want to prioritize. It's the beauty of where we're at. I mean, I understand most people, especially if you are football is way up here and everything else is a very distant second, third, or fourth, whatever order you want to put them in. For some people, especially if you're the upper end of our age demographic for the show, then maybe it's baseball for you, but it's so early in the season, maybe you're still giddy about it. You lock into that second. Maybe you are a hockey guy like Tom is, and obviously we're getting to the nitty-gritty as we get set to enter the playoffs, and obviously I love hockey as well. Then you're locking into that as your second sport. Maybe you're just hyper-focused on the draft, but you can't exactly do that on a nightly basis, right? I mean, there's only so much reading you can do about the NFL draft and the potential for trades and these fake mocks and everything else. There's all of that.
So I saw one thing about Tampa specifically that suggested they might not go for a trench player in the first round, and I don't think that's nuts. Jason Light loves to pick in the 50s and 60s and go get an offensive lineman that's going to be plug and play. Now,
I do like the guard from Boston College who's probably going to be available.
He has been tied to Tampa at the specific spot in the draft. And Light's not going to try and find a bargain, in lieu of a sure thing in the first round. I think he would do it. But if the Bucs do go, I don't know, secondary player, wide receiver, or something like that, where they are, this guy has earned my trust. He's had some bad drafts, but on the whole, hashtag on the whole, he has been money in the middle rounds. I mean, money, especially in the trenches.
Yeah, well, if you think about, there are very few. Baltimore is probably the most of the well-run organizations. The sustainability of and the flexibility they've shown in the draft has been the most consistent of any franchise in football, right? I mean, I think there's not much second guessing over the years with Baltimore's draft, but even they screw it up. I mean, there's so much hit and miss, especially when you're talking about quarterbacks. So I don't know. I'm not hard on GMs who have some whiffs. I'm hard on GMs who have too few hits. You have 7 rounds. You can find a couple of guys that are going to contribute on special teams. I mean, something, right? You got to give me something. And he's had more than that, to be sure.
So Jason Light's tenure goes back almost 10 years now.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's a hell of a run for a GM, by the way.
And if you were going to count the hits, I mean, you need 3 hands. I mean, there's a lot of hits.
Ton of hits. Yeah.
He's, I mean, as it goes in the league, it's just strange to say because as a Bucs fan, usually we're always awful in the draft and you just needed to kind of get lucky or somebody needed to fall to you because of a positive test at the combine or whatever it was. That's what would turn it around for Tampa. Man, he's got to be top 5 going into this year's draft day. He's got to be a top 5 GM in terms of success rate because even the most controversial one, which was trading back, not taking Derwin James and getting Vita Vea.
Well, the most controversial one would have been taking Roberto Aguayo as high as he did, but okay.
Yeah. Talk about first round.
Yes.
Sorry.
Well,
the high profile moves. I mean, even Jameis wasn't a whiff per se.
He owns every franchise record in the book just about. So, yeah.
Wait 10 more games and they'll all be gone.
I'm just saying.
But, that move, which was they're going to take Derwin. And absolutely. They told Derwin he's going to come there. And then it's Vita. And you're like, oh, no. And he gets kind of hurt. Not kind of. He did get hurt in that first year. You're thinking, oh.
He broke his leg, right? Didn't he?
But then.
It was the ankle, yeah.
Yeah, whatever. I think it might have been the ankle. It might have been compound fracture. Whatever it was. Might be Achilles.
A man that big.
That
break
dude
some things.
Was the principal difference maker on the defense because he came back for that Packers game in the Super Bowl run. You're like, oh, this is how it's supposed to look. And it's all because of that
game.
Dude.
Changes the game. Yeah. Immovable. I just think the boom or bust position of this draft is so much fun. I mean, okay. If you assume that some of the down linemen are going to be successful, Trevon Walker, for example, from Georgia or something like that, you look at these guys, there are a lot of big dudes in this draft, offensive linemen, defensive linemen, that you feel pretty good about. After that, it just gets dicier than hell. I mean, now, especially at quarterback, and I hate drafting, well, where we are, it's just best player available. I'll give you that. I mean, when you're down that far, you pretty much go in best player available. If somebody were to fall to you, something unforeseen, if a Jameson Williams at receiver, because he tore his ACL in the championship game, somehow fell all the way down to yes, you would jump on that. I think you would take that. Other than that, I'm fine. Just take linemen, man. They do tend to work out. If Charles Cross from Mississippi State is sitting there and grab his ass, I mean, I'm fine with that.
Well, don't do that, but pick him. Yeah.
You can grab his ass if you're picking.
Well, but that's the thing also, if he gets somebody and it's like from Delaware, I'm like, well, that dude's going to work because he's gone to Colgate and Hobart and you name where. And
you go to Hobart and make it work, then damn it, you deserve an awful lot of credit. I mean, that's crazy. I do think is it Zion? Is that his name? The Zion Johnson? Is that the offensive lineman from BC?
I think that's right.
I think it's Zion. I think he's the guard. And he is a guard. He's not a tackle.
Right.
He's a guard, which we're trying to replace. Yes,
that's the gap.
He's a guard.
Although I wouldn't mind a guard tackle combo who could, fill in for Donovan Smith when that era is finally over, mercifully.
Yeah. I mean, don't forget.
Somebody could slide to right tackle, let Wirfs go play left.
But don't forget, we also lost Kappa. So,
which was not that big of a deal. Like, everybody was making a huge
right, but you lose the starter and depth.
Right. The Marpet retirement was one that's just that's where you go, oh, that's not April 1st.
I appreciate you, Allie, looking out for your future and that you have other interests and you like to build stuff and you're a painter and you got married
ukulele and such.
You just had a kid and you seem to have a lot of balance to your life, which is all well and good if I'm your friend, but I'm not. I root for the team you played for and I need you to go out there and play some damn football.
But if you look at the Bucs pressure rate last year, where it was coming from, over a quarter of the time it was right guard, and we know that because Cap when he got hurt in the playoff run in the Super Bowl, you're like, if you're going to lose one of the 5, make it Kappa. And Shaq Mason, who comes in,
nice player.
The pressure rate is less than half.
Yes.
So you actually have improved at right guard. You just need to find a left guard.
You need to find a left guard, and his name is Zion Johnson from Boston College, and I've got my sights locked in, and that's the pick, Tom. Now don't go willy-nilly of ignoring my offensive line guys that I circle. We'd be fine right now at guard, Tom, if we had made the right effort to get a certain player who's likely to be extended now.
I stopped going willy-nilly after that road trip to Syracuse, sir. That's the last time I went willy-nilly ever.
It's Jeff Cameron Show. Come back, wrap it up, get some probables in here in a moment.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark.
TSparkConstruction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, TSparkConstruction.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
Refreshing and simple. 2 words you don't hear many people use to describe their experience going through the process of getting a home loan. That's what puts the Hamilton Home Loans experience in a category all their own. If you're buying or refinancing a home, Hamilton Home Loans will provide a personalized mortgage experience that is dedicated to making the process refreshingly simple. It all begins with an initial consultation with an experienced Hamilton Home Loans advisor to find out what your goals are in order to find the right mortgage to suit your specific needs. Then, your personal home loan advisor will take you through all the steps from application, underwriting, approval, and closing, all the way to the front steps of your new home. Once you've experienced the Hamilton Home Loan process, you can be a customer for life and never have to pay lender fees again. For first responders, nurses, physician assistants, teachers, active and retired military, ask about the Hamilton for Heroes program. Personalized attention with your needs put first. Now that's refreshingly simple. Find out more at HamiltonHomeLoans.com. That's HamiltonHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 200719.
Physical stress on our bodies can take its toll as the years go by. Whether you're looking to get back into an old sport or just want to spend more time outdoors to explore all life has to offer in our beautiful city, the dedicated team at TOC is here for you every step of the way. You can trust TOC for all your orthopedic needs. And now, scheduling an appointment has never been easier. Just visit teamtoc.com and click schedule online. That's teamtoc.com.
Ordering food from your favorite local restaurant just got easier and without the high-priced fees like those other Eats and Bites. Order today from foodiestakeout.com and every dollar you spend at select local restaurants goes directly to that restaurant and stays right here in our community. Text Foodies to 850-230-9456. That's 230-9456 and get 10% off your first order at foodiestakeout.com. It's that easy. Text Foodies to 230-9456 for 10% off your first order from foodiestakeout.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
The Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
To cue the button there.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Brought to you by North Florida Payroll Services, locally owned for nearly 15 years, offering payroll and HR services, including full online applicant onboarding and integration into payroll. Save your company money and headaches today. Head to northfloridapayroll.com. Hey, it's kind of stunning to see that Mitch Keller has only given up 1 run through 5 innings. It's a miracle.
He must be a pirate if it's kind of stunning.
It is. I mean, we've been waiting on old Mitch for a while. He throws 98. There's no excuse for Mitch not to be good, but he isn't good.
Not just a screwball, Mitch.
Yeah. Come on, Mitch Keller. Keep it rolling. We're up against, unfortunately, Brandon Woodruff, who's just shoving against the Pirates right now. 1-0 in the fifth. White Sox and the Guardians. That is Keuchel and Bieber, and they're in the bottom of the second. White Sox Guardians game 2, Jimmy Lambert and Tristan McKenzie. Phillies Rockies, Zach Eflin, Ramon Marquez. Phillies 4 games under 500. Is that where we're at here? Come on, get it together, Philadelphia. Herman Marquez, did I say that? Rockies. Braves, Dodgers, good matchup. Charlie Morton. Tony Gonsolin.
Did you have a season win total bet?
I did.
On the Phillies?
Oh, no, over the Pirates, over 65.
Okay. When you're saying get it together, you're 4 games under 500, I was suspicious.
I just want Matthew to have some joy in his life. Watching a team that's 4 games under 500 ain't it. Reds, Padres, Vladimir Gutierrez, and Mackenzie Gore. Orioles, A's, Jordan Lyles, Dalton Jeffries. Rays, Cubs, Drew Rasmussen, and Marcus Stroman. Angels, Astros, Shohei Ohtani. He of the 0-2, 7.56 ERA Ohtani family. Hey, what's going on, Shohei? Jake Odorizzi goes for the Astros. He of the 6.48 ERA Odorizzi family.
There will be runs.
Should be, unless both figure out that they're good. Cardinals, Marlins, Miles Mikolas.
Yes?
I know it's Mikolas. Doesn't matter. Sandy Alcantara, who I love to say his name, and that's a fun Marlins team to watch, and he's good. Yankees, Tigers, Luis Severino, Eduardo Rodriguez. D-backs, Nationals, Merrill Kelly. There's good old Merrill. Merrill Kelly on the year has a 0 ERA with 14 strikeouts. He's telling people to get some.
He was also in Gunsmoke.
Eric Peety starts for the Nationals. Giants, Mets.
Yeah.
Carlos Rodon and Chris Bassett. Chris Bassett out here kicking ass through 2 starts.
Yep. Kicking ass.
Oh, we haven't watched that video in years. Blue Jays, Red Sox, Jose Barrios, and Nick Pivetta. Twins, Royals, Chris Paddock, Daniel Lynch, and Rangers, Mariners tonight. Got a soft spot in my heart for that Mariners club. I may stay up late. Dane Dunning, who's annoying, and Logan Gilbert.
Boy, both of them.
Yeah,
Logan Gilbert. Dane Dunning.
Whenever I hear the name Gilbert, I see the fat woman from What's Eating Gilbert Grape going, Gilbert. Speaking of which, Johnny Depp has fallen hard. Have you seen the testimony in his trial?
That's a mess both ways. Both of them.
Well, I don't care if I don't care anything about. I'm saying, have you seen him? Holy, Johnny! Let's lay off the 7 bottles of wine tonight. This is not going well, sir. There's not enough Dakar in the world to save your face right now. What are we doing? That's a look at those that shall reside on the bump. It's documentary time. That's
is that the time on the calendar?
Yeah, it's documentary time. Get caught up on all my favorite documentaries are the ones that I've wanted to see. In my notes section, Tom, I learned a lot from you about the notes section. Years ago, I decided now, Tom's right about this notes stuff. There's a very simple mechanism right here. These little mini computers we walk around with. If you don't know a dude's name, type in a descriptor. Next time you see him, you're like, oh, that's the guy that wears the shark beads. Jerry, it's Jerry. Hey, Jerry. Anyhow, so that's, I have that in my phone, and
you'd remember Jerry.
I would, but I do that for documentaries. I love documentaries. Thus, I get sent, like YouTube knows, oh, he loves documentaries. Send him a bunch of stuff on documentaries. He's sure to click on it. Anyhow, so what happens is then I see a documentary suggesting I watch this other documentary. I'm like, oh, that looks great. Look at that. I'll write that. Oh, put it in my notes. Just put it in my notes here on the phone. And so now the problem is it's just a reminder that I never see anything since getting married and having kids. I haven't seen anything. So I then put in my notes, go back and watch that documentary on whatever.
Hey, you saw Interstellar, though. That's good.
I did. And I did on the day that I took off, and I told you, that's it. I'm getting up in the morning. I'm watching Interstellar. It's the only way it's going to get done. Can't happen at night because I'll go to bed. So it's going to happen in the morning. I got up. I remember, I'll never forget it. One morning, it was like 8 a.m. I was like, here we go. It's time for Interstellar over coffee. We're locking in. And I'm glad I did because I was wide awake, alert. It's like a 3-hour film.
It is. You got to buckle down. Bryce would enjoy that movie, I think.
He's seen it.
Oh, what do you think?
He liked it. I suggested it to him, and he's a night owl because he's a kid. Who knows how late he stays up? He's probably taking advantage of the fact that his old man's asleep. And anyhow, he's watching. Yeah, I remember I walked in to get him up one morning. He goes, hey, I stayed up and watched Interstellar last night. I was like, Jesus, what time did it start? He goes, 11. I go, you were up till 2. I watched Interstellar. It was good. He's 14 going on 50. Good work out of you guys. Be well, everybody. Peace. Talk to you tomorrow.